Joined now by the EFF's Secretary General Marshall Dlamini to unpack the party's position. Mr. Dlamini, good evening to you. Thanks for coming onto the show. So political analysts that we've spoken to throughout the early evening and tonight on News at Prime suggest that a lot of the talk coming out of the EFF and many other parties right now is all about political grandstanding, and that ultimately, come the 23rd of November, you would have backtracked on some of the positions that you're taking right now, perhaps even including that of not working with the ANC.
Good evening to the viewers at home. And there's no grandstanding that the EFF is doing. You would know that we are the only organization that we stand firm on our resolution. So the policy propositions and of what we negotiated with the ANC and everyone else, we made those public. We said the party that we're going to work on, there are basic agreements that we need to work on. And those agreements, all of them, they were focused on making sure that they service to our people. So anyone who can say the ANC refused that we must open clinics for 24 hours so that we can service our people, we can't call that as grandstanding, because those are the bases that the ANC refused to engage with us. So we've made those in public when we, after the Central Command team meeting, took a decision that there must be a team that is led by Deputy President and a negotiation team. Everything we made in public. So someone cannot come and say we are grandstanding, because if that is the case, should the ANC have agreed on these basic things that we put on the table, wouldn't be where we are. But the ANC demonstrated once again that they've got no interest, because everything else that we put here, they were majority, all these things, they were there to take care of black communities that have been forgotten to be serviced by the ANC, including opening clinics for 24 hours, because in the suburbs and everywhere else where minorities stay, the clinics are operating 24 hours. But in our communities, in the rural areas, in the townships, the clinics, they close at 4 o'clock as if our people, they don't get sick.
Sure.
Issues of students, issues of free water and electricity to the indigent and people that are getting money from SASSA. It's part of what we proposed to the ANC. They refused. They said all the poor people that are getting money from SASSA and grants, they cannot be given free water and free electricity. So to us, what was the ANC demonstrating once again that the issue of having black communities being forgotten for the last 27 years to participate in this democracy, it was not a mistake.
But Mr. Dlamini, but that can't be true, because already as it stands, we know that municipalities, just on the issue of the indigent lists, we know that municipalities keep indigent lists, and these households are already entitled to free services. So in terms of the demand that is being made by the EFF in this instance, are you adding to what those households you believe should be entitled to, because that provision already exists at a local government level?
It's a selective provision. We said all our people. But also, if that is the case, then why would you refuse something that you're currently doing? They know that they are not doing enough. Even the numbers that they have in different municipalities, it shows that what they're trying to do is not sufficient. Majority of our people, they continue to lose jobs. Majority of our people, they can't pay for water, they can't pay for electricity because of high levels of unemployment. Because if you are saying then they are doing it, then why they couldn't pick up that one and say, no, but we're already doing this? No, they refused. They said we cannot do it the way you want it to be done. We cannot look after those people. They just basically refuse. So it's not true that they are doing it.
So were you asking for a change of criteria?
Things everywhere.
Yeah, I'm asking you, were you asking for a change in criteria in terms of how the households who qualify for this kind of social protection, how those households are identified?
Yes, we said though everyone who is a SASSA beneficiary, they must get free water and free electricity. Once you are a SASSA beneficiary, it means the government themselves, they've made that assessment that you are a poor person. That's why they give you the money for grants. So why would they say you are a beneficiary of SASSA, you are a poor person in terms of categorization that the government have done themselves, and then they turn around and say you don't qualify to get free water and electricity, because they pretend to be doing everything else in this country. They pretend to be building houses, everything that they do. We know that it's not genuine. When we say, here's a category of these people, this is one of the conditions that we need to go into, and then they bluntly refused. Because if they were doing it, they would have agreed at least one item. They refused on everything that we've put on the table. They've got no interest of servicing black people.
So, Mr. Dlamini, it seems by and large that you had been focusing your talks about forming potential coalition governments with the ANC. So given the fact that they are no longer an option for you, at least right now, you know, they say 24 hours in politics is a long time. Who are the parties that you're willing to negotiate with?
As we said on our press statement that we have spoken to the IFP, and we have managed to put our policy proposals on the table on the issues that if we get into coalitions would want to see those implemented, and they've told us on the issues that themselves they would want to work with us, but they said they've got their own special meeting, they will come back to us. So we are, the IFP, we are still speaking to them, and any other party, but we're only speaking to the people that have spoken to us. We are not desperate. Remember in 2016, we were here and we served the people of South Africa in a proper manner when we were sitting in the opposition. Even now, the voters have decided to give us the number of votes that they've given us in different municipalities. Should we not find each other with any political party, we are ready to go to councils. We've spoken to all our councillors that all of them, they must ready themselves. When they announce the swearing-in ceremonies, they must go to the council. They will be there. They will participate. We are not intending of disrupting any operations, because our interest is that our people they must be safe. Yeah. That's why we put this in public, because it's what we campaign on, that this local government, it must be about our people. That's why we're even saying we can differ ideologically on some of the issues, like what the IFP has explained on the issue of land, to say we're agreeing with you on expropriation, but we don't find each other on compensation. Those are issues that we can deal with, but not on the basic issues like opening clinics and providing sanitary.
So, Mr. Dlamini, if I'm hearing you correctly, it sounds like the EFF is looking for unilateral approaches to entering into any coalitions across the country. So you're not really looking at the regional complexities of each local municipality before deciding what to do in that in those specific municipalities. Is that correct?
Yes, because we went to the ground to speak to our people, Cathy, on everything that we've written here. You can go anywhere from the country, from Cape to Musina. It's the same issues. All areas where black people stay, they've been forgotten. There are no clinics there. There's no access to water and electricity of those poor families. Even now, some of them, their houses have been, they've not had electricity for over 6 months because they cannot afford to pay for electricity, and the municipality switches off the houses of, switches off the electricity. So these issues, they apply everywhere in the country. So they're not just issues of the metros, everywhere else, because we went to speak to the people. So these principles and the issues that we've raised with these parties as part of the conditions for us to go into those coalitions, they were informed by us, by the people that we went to speak to on the ground. Right. So it's not something that we just said as the EFF leadership. It's the people themselves who say these are the issues, and we're saying to them, we are not interested. We're not going to discuss positions and municipalities like how the ANC wanted to negotiate.
Sure.
Can we just focus on our people? That's why even the president, on our Tselatupa rally, he challenged all the political parties to say, can we put other differences aside? Can we just focus on the people?
Mr. Dlamini?
Simple things like water and electricity.
Mr. Dlamini, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. And I take the fact that the EFF well believes that the interest in terms of its list of demands should be reasonable. But I suppose it's part of the negotiating process that every party wants to make sure that the ticket on which it was campaigning and electioneering, that also finds resonance within how these councils are formulated. We're going to have to leave it there. Unfortunately, we've run out of time.